changes that you and your sister have brought to the business that you're very aware of? Like, okay, since we've joined, these are really the things that have massively changed, basically, about the company.
So, yeah, we implemented structure and processes and procedures, because when we came in, there was none of that. It was just, shed full of stock, people everywhere, stock everywhere, mess, just everything. So we brought a level of structure to it, which has enabled a lot of efficiencies, so that we're continually evolving with the efficiency side of it. And now, so that was a major shift that we brought, and having to get staff to change with the structural, dynamic and that kind of thing, and realising that there was a point there where we were still faffing around with our structure and our staff, and at the same time, because the three of us were dealing with our families and trying to chop and change, we're chopping and changing roles, because we've always made sure we could cross-pollinate everywhere, we could all do a bit of everything. Like if someone had to go get the kids, the other person would handle the day, and just things like that. So the staff didn't know who to report to. So they were coming to me, and I'd say, yes, do what I say. Then they go to Sheree, and she'd be like, do what I say. And they go to Dad, and he'd be like, do what I say. So the staff were like, so we realised pretty quickly that structure is critical, and putting that structure in place has been absolutely epic for us as a business.
You've taken on the role of CEO. How long ago did you become CEO? How long has it been?
Oh, gosh, it's probably about 12 months ago now, maybe a bit longer, maybe a year and a half.
Did you prepare yourself and your team for this transition very consciously, or did you at that time just pick up the reins and you just went with it?
Well, that was right at a pivotal point where we're at a bit of a crisis, where our staff didn't know what they were doing, who to report to. And it was right when we were trying to find the structure. And we had an external consultant who's a really good mate of ours sort of come in for a couple of sessions with us, and he was saying, you need the structure. Who's going to be the person? And he basically said, can't be your father, because he's transitioning out. One of you girls need to pick up the reins. And it just kind of naturally, both of them were just like, well, it's got to be Genette. Just because we've all got our different skill sets, and they could see that. And for years, Dad's been saying, Genette can run this business. Genette can run it. She's fine. Like for years, he's been kind of pre-prepping me, if anything, been saying that. But the reality is that it's really my sister and I that run the business. I might be CEO from a structure perspective, but we tap on each other all the time with regards to what we do, what direction we're heading, make sure we've got the structure and everything, and that we're on the same journey and the same path.
Do you feel like the culture in the company is going to be changed now that you're CEO, like a little bit with regards to that? Does your strategy change now that you and your sister are more at the helm? Do you feel that?
Absolutely. We have definitely, our focus is changing. We're building our community and our culture, right? So one of our goals is to have a culture in place where our talent want to come to work, and we want them to love being at work. We want them to enjoy it, instead of the old school mentality of the iron fist, where you come to work and you do the job and you don't, that's just the old school mentality. Whereas we're trying to create an environment that I want to work there, like let's go there. I want to be one of your talent. Pick me.
Yes.
And we're definitely working on that. And we're starting to get a really good team now. Like it's taken us a long time, but we're starting to get the team that we want on the journey, and having everyone on the same direction and the same path is just awesome.
How do you and your sister talk about the future of the business now? Is it like, for you, is it a very clearly defined, well, we want to have a multi-generational enterprise, we really want a third generation, we really even want a fourth generation? Or are you still in the frame of mind where you're like, let's make sure we're here next year? You know what I mean? Let's just survive the next few years. Like, has your thinking sort of shifted towards more long-term, or not yet?
Our plan for the business is to grow it and to be at the moment we're national, but we want to corner the market and be the trailer supplier of choice and have that trusted technical background. So at the moment our whole focus is just getting the business to that next big step, to have factories in every state and or supply in every state, and to really be hamming it up so much, more than the generational thing, I think.
Sure.
I think we've just kind of focused on what Sheree and I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if our kids want to come into the business down the track, no problem. But I think we would be very much like Dad was with us, where you go and have your journey first. You go do what you want to do, and then you choose to come back.
Right.
You know, there's no force, no stress. If you don't want to continue business, that's fine too. Just go and get your skill. And then if you choose to come into it, fantastic. You can bring your skill that you've learned elsewhere into the business, you know. But likewise, if they wanted to come in from the start, we would never turn that away. But we would, because it's an old school founded business, we're very clear on our work ethic.
Yes, of
so
course.
Our offspring would have to be on that frame of mind too.
We live in a kind of an odd time, I guess, Genette. I don't think that we can probably talk about our businesses today without touching upon the pandemic. What was the realization point for you where you and your sister turned to each other and were like, okay, well, you know, this is serious. Like, you know, we need to put in measures. Like, were you early to the game? Did you realize soon what this would be?
Yeah, we were pretty quick onto it. We were pretty early to start pivoting. But our father was onto it way before us.
Really?
He came in my office one day and said, Genette, what if this is a huge issue, you know, blah, blah, blah. And both me and my sister were like, no, no problem, no, it's fine. Literally a week later, we're like, crap, we need to do something.
Yeah.
And that was right early on, like that was right at the start. So we were very lucky that we actually, my sister and I went to a conference in Sydney just 2 weeks before it got really serious. And at that conference, they were talking to us about this is serious, get ready, blah, blah, blah. So Sheree and I came out of that going, crap, let's buy every webcam we can. Let's, you know, who's remote ready? What can we do remotely? And blah, blah, blah. And because we're very heavily fabrication and on the ground, like we need people at work to dispatch goods. We can't really remote. I can work some sales guys remotely, but not really many people. But we're lucky that we have space at work, so we could space everybody out in the office.
Okay.
So we immediately just kind of worked through all that, get everyone spaced out. We tested one of our key guys working from home continually through Zoom, which worked brilliantly. So we thought, great, we can handle that side of things, and just started treading the water. And we immediately started looking into getting the war chest together. Just so that if, you know, we could pull some levers should we need to. And we pretty quickly developed a 4-phase plan where if this happened, we'd do that. If this happened, we'd do that. If this happened, we'd do that.
That's your scenarios.
It literally was pulling the business right back to account for the COVID pandemic and just how far, depending on how far pullback we got stopped as a business, what we would have to do to survive. And I think because we had that pretty much ready to go within 2 weeks. So because we had that and then it all went crazy, we were relatively comfortable through the process.
Because you had a plan. You had a plan. You stuck to the plan.
Yeah, and we had to make some pretty tough decisions, and we had to deselect some people, and we had to find our way through it. But all of that was just defined by the plan. So we just ticked it into gear. And then as, you know, like as Australia started to sort of get back on its feet, probably, I don't know, about a month ago, we just planned back in again. And, you know what I mean? It was just really great. Like you just had to go with it. And now I think we're at the point of it could come back again for the second wave. Everyone's getting ready for that. So we're just going a bit softly and taking as much advice that we can from anybody who knows anything, like everybody else, and just kind of doing our own thing. But we are lucky in the sense that when everything was shut down and we had to pivot and make all of our changes, we're lucky because our industry, being trailers, people could no longer travel. They could no longer cross borders. If people were looking for things to do, they're going camping, they'll load up the trailers, they're doing stuff. So it did generate a bit of industry for us, which was great. So I think that's helped sort of pull it back a little. And now it's just all about what's going to happen over the next couple of months. So it's just a waiting game.